See, it's probably not one, it's the other fence thing.
Oh, at the last meeting, I don't think that was a fence. It was.
Approve them.
What was that? That was, Rapid Cat Ranch. Yeah, that was lights. That was lights. Correct. That was lights at.
For height lights at
Yeah.
Fabco.
That's what it was. It was lights at that. We denied that. The lights that at.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That was denied. Then we had Austin Hamill, who wanted to discuss his.
Mr. McKee, we are ready when you are.
Just talking to Mr. Peoples about meetings, minutes. Y'all said, Gene. Okay, at 6 p.m., we'll call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Baylor,
Here.
Liebel,
Here.
McKee,
Here.
Kublitz,
Here.
Zuba.
Is there any person desiring to be heard on any item currently not on tonight's agenda? We have consideration of the minutes dated September 24th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second,
Second.
discussion. Call the roll.
Baylor,
Yes.
Liebel,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
Kublitz,
Yes.
Zuba.
Yes.
It's open to a public hearing for an application from TK Mason, property owner of 5125 North 125th Street, for a height and material variance from section 54-601 of the Village of Butler Municipal Code of Ordinances to allow for a 10-foot wooden fence pursuant to Article 3, section 54-723 of the Village of Butler Municipal Code of Ordinances. If you want to come up and come to the podium, we'll ask you to state your name, your address, and then because we are a quasi judicial board, we have to have you take an oath of that you're going to tell the truth.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Kappelman. I live at 7122 Ashwood Lane, Wind Lake, Wisconsin.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may proceed.
All right, so we are looking for an ordinance to keep, I guess you guys are terming it as a fence that we put up. Our property's in a weird circumstance. The property to the west of us has a retaining wall that's about 4 feet tall. After that retaining wall, it's nothing but gravel. It's their parking lot and all that jazz. But from their parking lot to the top of their retaining wall, it's only about 2 to 3 inches. Not much room. So every time one of their vehicles pulls out, they tend to kick quite a bit of dust and or stones over into our property. And it's become a continuous issue. I kind of looked at this as not really a fence as much as it was just a blind. It's attached to our carport. It's not dug in. Is it attached permanently? I would say yes, probably under those terms. But we're just trying to protect our vehicles, and most of all our sand pile. It's just continuous that they're kicking stones and things over there. And I know they're not doing it on purpose or by any, they're not intending to do harm, but it's been an issue for the last year. And we just kind of put this up as a way to stop that from happening. And we weren't trying to make anyone mad. The fence is, I guess, technically 10 feet because on our side, it's 10 feet, but from their side, it's only 6. So we were just looking for a variance so we can, protect our business, protect our vehicles, and all these things.
Anyone have any questions?
So you're saying by them pulling in and out of their parking lot. It's just that simple as kicking stones.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's stones, it's dust.
I'm just trying to understand that. That's a big, I don't know, thing for us to try to wrap our heads around without them spinning their tires to send rocks. Just driving typically won't send rocks
I mean-
flying through the air.
I mean, it's not like it's, they're ricocheting, 30 feet, but, I mean, there's constant traffic in there. So they're constantly pulling vehicles in and out, and it's just a dust cloud, it's rocks.
Dust,
it's
I mean, I
pebbles.
can understand dust. I'm trying to get my head wrapped because it's really the sand pile we're talking about.
Yeah,
And I
that's
understand the sand. Where's the sand pile in conjunction with
Right
the,
off to the side of like where the thing is. It's up to it, and then the wall, and that's a little bit taller. So it just kind of like kicks around here. And I mean, it's all of our vehicles. I mean, I'm
well,
amazed.
dust, right? But not stones. Is it kicking stones on the vehicles?
It has. So we've kind of pulled things because we have a port, but we have a lot of vehicles, so we can't always get them all in there and that. So they were always kind of just parked right along that side. So there was things just, I mean, it was constant. I mean, it's all kinds of traffic bond everywhere, and
Is there any place in your property to move your sand pile to?
not really,
Nothing?
no.
You're-
I mean, the way that we
The
are,
only
if we
spot
tried
there
to
is
put
that,
it to the side, we wouldn't be able to pull vehicles in. I mean, it's basically stuck along that back wall.
Ben, how did this come before us to begin with? How did we get notified that this was a fence put up
So
without permits?
I received a complaint, and I followed up on it, basically letting them know. I included that letter in the packet, saying that we became aware of a fence being erected. And when looking at the ordinance in particular, in that type of zoning district, it can be 8 feet, not 10. It has to be made of woven or wrought iron. And the picture that I was sent, the fence is facing the wrong way. So there's those 3 things that need to be corrected per the code. So that's how I became aware of it. I received a complaint and I acted on it. And then Kyle came in and we had a discussion.
So what I mean by woven is that century fence with the.
It's kind of like just like the chain link.
Yeah, but
I-
can they have
Slats in
the
it?
slats in
Yeah.
it?
Okay.
So it's pretty much would block any stones or anything that fence if it was.
If there's the plastic slotting, I would assume that would take care of the issue. Again, I didn't do any experiments, but I would assume that it would.
Does our code allow for the, you've seen chain link fence where they actually put it, it's like a fabric, you can almost see through it, but it's actually it is a fabric.
I know that there's multiple businesses in the village that have that type of fence. Yes, there's nothing preventing that from happening as long as you can see through it.
Right.
Is there more than one sand pit you got?
No.
You can't put that sand pit on the south lot line where you got to look like stones piled and some concrete blocks and stuff. You can base it that way.
In theory, yes, but the only reason that is protected is because they have a trailer that they can't move, that they don't move, that it stays parked there.
Who doesn't move it?
Or
Well,
should-
the owners of the property to
Yeah.
the west of us, so there's a trailer there, and like, the only reason that's not an issue there as well is because they have a trailer there. Like, I didn't build a fence across the entire property line. I just built a fence from our carport to where their trailer is always parked, because that's the only areas that we have an issue with.
So you didn't build a fence to protect your sand pile, you're saying?
Well, I didn't build it all the way across my property line is what I'm saying. Like, it didn't go, from the carport that's there all the way to the other end of the property line. Because they have stuff there. Like, you don't get the driving traffic over there because they have a 24-foot trailer parked along that end. If they ever move that trailer, I'm back into the same boat here.
What height do you think you would require on that retention wall to protect you?
On their side, I mean, if they probably bumped their retention wall up another 2 to 3 feet, you know, a couple courses where that can't happen anymore, then it would be fine. But I wasn't trying to make my problem their problem. to
No,
fix.
but you guys are masons. You could approach them and ask them if it's all right to village. I don't know. If you put a couple course, maybe a decorative block up on that retaining wall, or could you build your sand pit higher on that back wall if that's allowed? I don't know. To protect the sand pile. That's what you seem like you're concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, that's just our biggest concern because we're always trying to protect our sand. Dirty sand just creates a lot of problems for us. It's time consuming to clean.
I
But
assume-
it's more than just the sand. It's also just things coming over the wall because that's the only area that's open. The rest has our carport into it. So there's like a 12-foot span from there to where their trailers parked where there's nothing. So that's all I was trying to do, was trying to block that.
So if I would think if you can get together with your back neighbor, and if it's all right with the village, you could put a couple courses of block along that retaining wall. You guys are masons, it wouldn't take you much to do that.
No, but they tend not to play ball with us about anything. So
Could he build that sand pit up higher?
Oh, for the retaining wall?
No, he's got a block sand
Sand pit.
sand pit around it.
There's, as far as I'm aware, I don't believe that there's any height restrictions on something like that
Is that
specified in the code.
Is that permanent? Did you guys mason that into the, is
That
that your,
sand
your
pit.
enclosure of your sand, that block? Is that actually permanent? Did you
Mortar it.
mortar it to the concrete?
what do you mean, did we mortar?
Your
it?
enclosure
I
around your sand pile.
oh,
You have a block enclosure.
yeah.
Like on a picture I see here, and is that masoned in? Is that rotted to the, what, how is that built?
To be honest, that I don't know. That was existing when I came here, when I started working for them.
So it's not stack block that you know of? It's
Yeah, it's
actually,
stacked block.
it is just stack
Yeah.
block with no mortar in between?
No, there's mortar in between
Okay,
it. and
okay.
it's-
So that,
yeah.
yeah,
Permanently put
Yeah.
in there. Like a,
basement wall, for lack of a better description.
right, almost like
That's
a,
what I'm saying.
like a garbage
Yeah,
enclosure is what it kind of looks like, but it's, you can see it's racked back.
They bring that
Ben,
up
you don't have any
couple
pictures of that
feet.
fence, do you? It's kind of
Um,
hard to see from the street. I'm looking at a picture that Gene has, and that's the same vision I had when I drove past the property.
Mhm. Yeah, everything we have is from the street, obviously, because we don't go on to properties. Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around that stones are flying like that and into your enclosure from someone
I-
just driving
Yeah, I mean,
through
there's-
without,
there's
without being
even-
malicious is what I'm trying to,
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's trying to be malicious by any means. They're in and out of there nonstop, you know, trailers, everything, which is fine. You know, they're a business. They have every right to operate.
I do have photos. It's just that if I detach my computer, then the live stream goes away.
Okay, never mind.
I do have them though.
That's okay.
What's he saying?
If he detaches the computer. Okay.
So can you guys get together? So, is you think it's possible for him to raise that pit wall, 2 or 3 blocks height and?
Like I said, I don't believe that there's any like height restrictions on something like that. Again, I would probably have to run through the municipal code just to double, triple check before I give a final answer on that. But I have not come across it in my day-to-day examinations of it.
yeah, because it's permanent, so I'd like to look into that before we say just raise that structure up. We don't know anything about it, and he's claiming it was there when he got there. So we don't even, but it's clearly in the, mortared to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
And I don't know if there's rods in it, if it's core poured or what, But before we say start building higher on it, because it looks like it's, Like 8 courses already, I think it looks like.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I think, looks about 8.
So how high is
That'd
it
be odd.
now above the retaining wall?
Above the retaining wall,
It's that high above the retaining wall already?
the retaining wall, yeah,
Okay.
So you're already 2 feet above their retaining wall?
yeah, roughly.
And that's what you would say they would need to put up on top of their retaining wall?
Well, but it would be closer to them and
Well, I was thinking, but build this up a couple feet.
Yeah.
The retaining wall is.
3 more courses, you know, and
that's
that's,
two,
the
you know, that's 2
retaining wall,
feet.
I think belongs to Dorset.
So you probably want to build the side of that up a little bit because the dust is coming over
what,
the back.
what-
of the side.
are we,
Fence That he's talking about.
to kind of refresh
Fence up.
my
You could do that.
memory
You
here,
wouldn't
do
have
we,
to-
are we addressing also the lack of permit, or does that get sent to the board? Or
That's
or
a,
building board?
That's a
that-
separate issue.
that's a separate issue.
Okay,
for-
just so we're not worried about, right now, it's just a height, is what we're.
It's the height and it's the
Height,
material and
material,
it's the
both.
direction of it. So there's the three different things that are wrong with it. So
Okay.
it's the unfinished side is facing door shack. It's too tall and it's made out of the wrong materials.
Okay,
So you the owner?
No, the owner's out on vacation. When we found about the date of this, it was just too late, so.
Okay.
and also, Ben, we're bound a lot by the code, correct? By,
Correct. And I can get into
state-
that once we get through the public hearing portion. I can detail all of that.
There's flexibility with us,
Mhm.
but that's really curtailed by both state and village laws and ordinances. There's only so much we can do and approve.
Understandable.
We still want to dilute codes that you get a 10-foot fence and that, and the next guy down the road says, well, he's got one, you approved his, and I want to put up a little higher fence, and it's,
And it can snowball. I
Yes, yeah.
understand that.
So I know that we do have the property owner to the west. So
correct.
if you're
I think for now, we're done with you.
Okay,
If we have any more questions, we'll just ask you.
all right,
Right,
all right.
Thank you.
Guys.
you bet. Yes, come forward.
I'm Myron Dorshak. I'm the co-owner of Dorshak Tree Specialist next door.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the whole, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can proceed.
So, I mean, we had problems with this TK Mason ever since they moved in. We didn't have any issues for 20 years with the prior was there. And we had a wall, it was traffic bond and rocks, and we didn't have any runoff. And then when the new owner came in, the Mason, they started digging that. And then all of a sudden, water and stuff started falling down and stuff. So they said we had to put up a retaining wall. And my brother didn't want to fight it. He talked to the owner, TK Mason. He said, I'll tell you what, we'll pay most of this. I didn't even feel it. On my part, I didn't feel it was us. But he said, I'm only going to give $3,000 to a $20,000 retaining wall. So we put up 17,000. We built it, and he never paid us the 3,000. But I know that's a separate issue, and it's not up to you guys. But it's just bad blood between us. And yes, they got they got all this new stuff they're building. All of a sudden, we see a fence, and the wrong side's facing us. The bad side. They don't get permits, as far as I know. They didn't get a permit for a lean-to, even though the lean-to is much bigger than their building. And the lean-to, the gutters are right in line with our property, which means sheets of ice, sheets of snow and ice can just fall down and fall on our property on anything that we put there, whether it's our trailers or equipment. So it's been very frustrating dealing with the owner. He hasn't been honorable in just us verbally. Actually, we had it on paper too, but he still didn't pay us the $3,000. So as far as I know, and I had talked to the building inspector, he didn't get a permit for the lean-to, but apparently it says you can put it right on the property line. Okay, but that's an issue when we get snow and ice and it falls on our property. I know that's not the issue here today, but it does talk to the character of the owner on the east side. And that's bothersome to us because they haven't been very fair with us, we feel. No, we drive very slow through there. We don't kick up any rocks or anything like that. Personally, I don't have a problem with the wooden fence because we prefer not to see them. We just want to go about our business, let them go about their business, but they do a lot of stuff that apparently they don't get permits for, just like those 8-story bricks that they got there. And I do think they're sealed into the ground because they got to put a skid steer into there and they don't want it to move. So I'm sure they're not freestanding. And I'm sure they didn't get a permit for that either. That's about all I got to say.
All right, thank you. Keep in mind that the feuds that you're having with your property owner has no bearing with this board at all. Anyone else have any other questions? Anyone on the board have any other questions? We'll close the public hearing. Yep. You have anything to say to us, Ben?
Yes, so under new business item A, so we heard from both sides on this. Basically, I sent you all the ordinance with it when it came to the fence. I believe I gave you the ordinance related to the variances, and then I gave you some information on the UW. It's from the UW extension, but basically they help educate Board of Zoning Appeals members on their role. And I did include their kind of basic template for going about making a decision. The decision has to be based off of the things listed both in there and on the application for variation. So it has to be exceptional circumstances. There has to be significant economic hardship with coming into line with the code, and it cannot be self-imposed. We are going to be respecting the preservation of property rights, and that the undue hardship, like I said, was not self-imposed, and basically it's not unique to the property itself. So, a uniqueness to the property would be if that property had like an attribute to it that would really significantly hinder the use or the ability to utilize the property like everybody else does. So it is the village's opinion that they don't meet that criteria, because as we kind of discussed here, there's multiple different ways of solving this that don't mean that we allow a 10-foot fence that's facing the wrong way and made of the wrong materials. To me, that there is not anything that I heard today that would demonstrate the need for that, and that it would meet that strict criteria laid out by the state.
All right, thanks, Ben. Any questions from the board? What's the pleasure of the board?
I think there's multiple ways you can solve that problem with he's dealing with it without that type of offense he's got up there now. And like Ben says, it doesn't meet what we can grant a variance for because he's got other options, and it's not the one I would like to approve. I think I'd make a motion that is denied the fence permit.
All right, there's a motion to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Baylor,
Yes.
Liebel,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
Globowitz,
Yes.
Zuba.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Call the roll.
Baylor,
Yes.
Liebel,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
Globowitz,
Yes.
Zuba.
Yes.
Thank you.